So we've got 3 more convictions in the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. A jury in Jackson finding 3 defendants guilty for their role in this plan. So Charlie, the defense said that they were sort of being entrapped, or maybe they weren't really serious. This was just kind of talk, loose talk.
It's similar to the other trial that we had in federal court. So this one basically 3. But so that entrapment is kind of interesting. In this case, the judge ruled that the defense could not argue entrapment because that'll probably go up on appeal. So there's the appellate issue right there, that they were entrapped. But the bottom line of this thing is that before the trial started, the judge had a hearing, and the judge kind of made the defense show that there would be enough evidence to allow the jury to consider entrapment. And the judge said, no, there's not. But that will probably go up on appeal. So you have your...
The entrapment is...
where the government entices you to commit the crime. It's not your idea to commit the crime, it's the government. So they had a lot of informants. And it was the informants that said, let's go here, you take this job, you do that job. And the informants really steered these 3 to criminal wrongdoing.
And based on that defense, though, were acquittals based on that defense in a previous trial?
In the federal court, in a different case, a different set of facts, yes, yes. In Michigan, a little tougher to get that entrapment out there, but nevertheless. But here's the deal. In this one, the jury was out for 6 hours, which is nothing. If a jury is out real short, and this was really short, it's going to be guilty. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. And there wasn't really here. What I think is interesting in this case is that for the first time in I think there are 11, I forget how many people now, 11 or so people that have been involved in this plot to kidnap the governor. These 3 are charged with being members of a gang. And the gang was the Wolverine Watchmen. They call that a gang, militia gang, okay, which is okay. Jury convicted them. Here's the deal. It's a 20-year sentence, but it runs consecutive to the other sentences, meaning you've got to do the other sentences, and then they add on this. They don't all run together.
Not concurrent, but consecutive.
It's not concurrent. It's not concurrent.
Yeah.
It's consecutive. So that's interesting. And another little kicker here is that these 3 were convicted of a weapons charge, which is a mandatory 2 years. So they start with mandatory 2 years. Then they're going to, I think that's how they do it. And then they have to go with whatever they get for providing the support, 5, 6 years, whatever it may be. 20 is the max on there. And then they finish that, and then they do a mandatory, whatever the judge gives, on the gang.
Wow.
So potentially, for these people that have had probably the least amount of involvement in any of this, they could get the tougher sentence.
Oh, wow. Is that because it's state and not federal?
No, the federal have their guidelines, but one guy I think got 4 years, if I remember correctly. There's one that's Adam Fox, the big one's going to be sentenced in December. He'll probably get more.
Why would these guys, the fringe participants, get a heavier sentence than the ringleader?
They provided the support. They provided the house to do the logistics, to shoot the guns, to make the plots, but they kind of sat back and just provided the means for these other guys.
Okay.
They facilitated the process.
They facilitated the process.
Wow.
Which probably arguably is not as bad as the people with the brains behind the operation. Those were charged federally. These guys are charged in the state courts. And by the way, we're still waiting for 5 more defendants to see if those 5 will face a trial.
How many people were in on this?
So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think it's 11 or 12. Help me out. I think it's 11. Either way, it's a lot of people. Wow. And they had a government informant, and they had, so I think right now the total, I think 2 were found guilty, 2 pled guilty, 2 were acquitted, so that's 6. These 3, all guilty, it's 9, and we've got, still think we have 5 more. Whatever it is. Do the math. Maybe it's 13, 14. I can't do the math.
So they'll be sentenced in December, by the way.
Wow. A lot.
Charlie, let's talk about what we all witnessed, and that was Ethan Crumbley pleading guilty to all the charges against him. It was, boy, what an incredible sight. Yeah, just chilling to see. 24 in all, including murder and terrorism at state level. And this was something that I think that the families and the community of Oxford had mixed emotions about, because some say they wanted to see him go through trial so they could learn more about what happened that day.
Well, I guess I heard that. I think most of the families that I did talk to, I was in there when he did plead guilty. I think they want to avoid trial. Trials are very difficult, and they're very highly, highly emotional. And so for him to go up there and basically say, yes, I committed 11 shootings, killing 4 people. I think it was a little bit of, not a lot, but a little bit of relief for the victims in this case. So if any one of us did what he did and we pled guilty, it would be automatic life in prison without parole. We talked about this before, but because he's a juvenile, he gets a separate hearing. It's called a Miller hearing, Miller versus Alabama, Supreme Court case. That said basically sending a juvenile for life in prison automatically is cruel and unusual punishment. So the prosecutor now is going to have to prove that this kid, this teenager, 16 now, should go to life in prison without parole.
I don't know, this could be the dumbest question, but, and I'm not sure it matters, but is he sorry for this?
It's hard to know. It's in
what
his
can we
head.
tell?
You couldn't tell.
About, like, does he?
You were there. What did it
I was
feel
sitting,
like?
I mean, he walked right past him. I mean, he's
Really?
a little skinny. Yeah, he walked right, bring him in the courtroom. I happened to be in the
any feeling or emotion or anything?
I think the legal word is remorse. I think that's
Okay,
because the thing. But you know what? Honestly, I didn't see it.
Wow.
I didn't
What
see
you
it.
did see, Charlie, is a boy, right?
Young kid,
a
skinny
young
kid.
boy, and that makes you realize just the tragedy in this for the victims,
Yeah.
and the fact that this happened. And when you look at this child standing before a judge and saying, "Yeah, I did it," it's
just terribly sad.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
His lawyer said he does have remorse. I didn't necessarily see it, but you know, who knows? There will be a hearing, and he could testify minimally. He'll get 25 years. Likely, he'll get 40.